I love when people say long story short and then they say the longest story ever. I dislike to do that to you, but that's what I'm going to do today. Long story short. Going to keep it a long one today. So recently on Instagram, one of those apps under Meta, Facebook, all that kind of stuff. Recently, I've been trying to post on there and it hasn't been working out great for me. I'll post something like, hey, congrats on your friendship or good luck on the baby, and it'll just get flagged and taken down. It's like Instagram don't want me posting on, not posting, but they don't want me commenting on other people's things because apparently it's, untruthful way of gaining followers or support or something like that. I forget how they say that I was doing it, but that's what it was. So anymore, it deems Instagram pretty much unusable for me unless I just like people's things and just comment on their stories. Other than that, unusable. So that's maybe a good thing. So I don't have to be on there all the time. So yeah. So recently on YouTube, a big black conservative, not that the person is big, but their following perhaps is robust, large, and healthy. But the person that has these initials CO is recently, I guess, 3 videos flagged, one right after the other consecutively, was recently happening. That hasn't happened anywhere else except for, I mean, it has happened other places, but except for Instagram in such an aggressive way, thank goodness, right? But no, I'm seeing more and more, just even in news reports of other countries limiting limiting people's ability to speak out or even have a platform to speak. So you will find JPTV on Rumble, JPTV 2024 on Rumble, on Truth, on X. I even got on X, which I haven't. I mean, all these things, all these social medias are challenging to keep up with. Everyone's posting everything all at the same time, everything all at once. It's hard to keep up with all the stuff. It's like if you tried to even keep up with 5% of things that are going on in the world, you wouldn't have time to read at all. And maybe that's part of the plan. That's a part of the plan, y'all, to keep us unread and just, what it is. So recently I came back from a trip. I was in California. It's hard to stay away from me. Just love that California. I've had some good times and had some interesting times. But recently on the way back from California, I went on a Waymo. If you know anything about Waymo, they are the technical, logical, I'd say they're number one in my book as far as driverless transportation. I've seen videos of stuff happening like that in China, but Waymo is the first driverless thing that I've come across in America that's actually doing the thing right now. And I trust a little bit more in technology than maybe humans at this point. Because you've talked to some humans and maybe they'll come after you and try to take your soul, right? Or try to get one up on you. But AI hasn't done that to me yet, except for one time when I had what is a Google Assistant, but it's like Gemini. I had the opportunity to beta test Gemini when it was, almost first on the horizon. I'm sure it's been on the horizon since a long time, but when I was trying it out for the first time, I had the opportunity to check Gemini. And how I'd wake it up is I'd say, good morning, right? Or, hey, good day, something like that. And then Gemini would run through its bullet points. It's like, okay, this is the weather. This is the news. This is what's on your schedule today. This is your devotion type thing. And it was very helpful for a while there until it like broke or something. It would not do that. I'd be like, hey, good morning. Today is Saturday. I'm like, whoa. Gemini, stop. First of all, it is not Saturday. It is a Wednesday afternoon. I just decided to sleep in today because I had a rough day yesterday, all right? So first of all, it's Wednesday afternoon. You're saying it's Saturday morning. So safe to say is I got rid of Gemini very quickly as quickly as I could. And it wasn't hard. It wasn't easy to get rid of Gemini. You had to go in your settings, but without knowing specifically how to get rid of Gemini, it was like in there like a virus, right? It could not get rid of it. But then I did go online. Apparently, there's something that you have to through your Google account to get rid of Gemini. So I did that, and now I'm back to Assistant. But now my Assistant is broken. So now if I try to talk to my Google, like, "Hey Google, what's the weather?" It ain't listening. It's like, if you don't like Gemini, you don't like Assistant, you don't get it. That's okay. There's ChatGPT 3.5, there's ChatGPT 4, but you got to watch out for those things as well. I've asked it questions, and some of the stuff you can look up, or maybe first of all, that when you ask a question, the answer they give you is wrong. But if you're naive, or maybe the information is more challenging to get, that could be an issue in the future. But so far, it's been relatively easy to find information that is true, right, and good. I'll just say that taking the Waymo, it's been more comforting than driving with some of these drivers out here, because they're like, you can sense them thinking, it's like, oh, the tip, do they like me, do they not? Is this person safe? Are they a friend? Are they a foe? That type of thing. With Waymo, driverless taxi, it's like you're not thinking about any of this stuff. It's like, I ain't tipping the technology, right? Not yet, at least. Maybe someday. But it seems to be a more enjoyable experience. Just you in the car, feet up, drinking the lemonade. It's made. Life, living in the shade with the music up and blasting. It's funny driving past people that, you see these vehicles every day, but it's hard to know if someone's inside or not inside, because the rear seats are kind of low. The windows are typically always tinted. I've never seen a non-tinted Waymo driverless taxi. But then a lot of people roll it up with the windows up, so it's less enjoyable to see if someone's driving or not driving the Waymo vehicles. Because, granted, there are some Waymo vehicles that have people driving it. But to look through the car and seeing that there's no one in it, it's just like doing a thing, it's just amazing to see. The first time I saw that, I had my phone out, trying to film this thing. But being in the Waymo itself, it's quite a different experience. I tried to sleep in one recently, the last time I was in one actually, but the way it takes some of these turns, has you like leaning stuff, it's like, oh, it can be challenging to fall asleep, because in the back of your mind there's no one in there, no healthy individual that is in the car driving it physically that could avoid an accident if something were to happen. And case in point, I was in the back of this vehicle, and I could sense within my soul, within my body, that the vehicle was stopped. I was like, okay, so we've been here for a good 20 seconds. What is up? I get up off my bag and I look up and see that like a flatbed truck in front of me. Sorry, there was no one else in the car, just me in the car. I look forward and I see this truck parked, and Waymo's just sitting there. Eventually, 7 more seconds, it was like, see the wheel turning, and then, okay, it goes around. But stuff like that, a human person, unless there's traffic, they wouldn't, be stopped by that. But the Waymo seems to have some issues with that. But apparently, not too many issues, apparently, because in Austin, in Atlanta, Waymo is joining up with Uber, y'all. I'm telling you, in the next 5 years, some of these Uber and Lyft drivers that are having trouble complaining about the fees and prices and the money they're making from this thing, where they're going, they don't need to complain anymore. Because Waymo doesn't complain. Waymo doesn't need more pay. Waymo is 24/7. When all the drivers are in bed taking breaks, Waymo is on the streets. Waymo is doing its thing. Waymo will outwork me, and I'm not even mad about it. I just got to tell you guys today and right now, Waymo's coming for your jobs. If you are a rideshare driver, if you deliver things in the next 5 years, yeah, shoot. Judgment Day is coming, my friends. The good book is telling us that. This book right here is telling us time is almost up, and it's coming. It's coming, guys. All right. So that's interesting. Waymo is taking jobs and stealing hearts out here. Debate. Who watched the debate? It was kind of interesting. I will say, A lot of funny one-liners. I really especially enjoyed the one-liner that Trump said to Kamala. He was like, "You mind? I'm speaking here. All right." You remember that one? And just the disrespect is hilarious. It just caught me in a funny way right there. All right, just put a MAGA hat on me for saying that right there. But that's the way I felt. It was just like a hilarious thing to say, and just eating the dogs, eating the cats. All right, and I've looked that up since then, and I don't know if people are eating the dogs and cats. I did see a couple of what appeared to be cats on a grill on a video on the internet. Who's to say that that wasn't set up or from a different place? Because I know in a lot of other places that is delicioso, right? So if you were hungry, have you tasted a dog or cat? It could be the tastiest thing ever, but we don't know because we eat things like other types of birds. Maybe you eat your geese from a lake. Maybe you eat them from wherever geese come from. But I don't want to go out here and judge people for their eating choices, all right? At least that's not what I'm trying to do. I know a lot of other people that are like, oh, you eat pets. How dare you? I will say I did some research as I was doing research on people eating various animals and things like that. Other people use animals for other diabolical reasons, and say what you may about eating friends and furry friends and stuff like that, but when someone's doing these diabolical things with animals, that's a little bit more freaky, I will say. All right, that's all I will say about that right there. But the debate had a lot of interesting points in there, a lot of things brought up, a lot of true, a lot of untrue things. I will say that, in my opinion, though Trump said a lot more truth, I think what people get hung up on is his ironic sarcasm. I think a lot of people take that for truth. All right, and in a debate, it's probably better to stay off of the sarcasm. But I guess when you're tired of things, that's the way you say it. And saying that you don't need a second debate, I don't know. Just with the way Trump appeared to be triggered in this debate or instigated, some may say, I say why not? What's the worst that can happen? In your mind, you won, but let's see what actually happens, right? I think who they are, they're not going to let Trump get it. Not at all. Not at all. And if today is any indication, right? Some were saying that Pop, shots fired at him. In other places, it seems like other people were having a little disagreement, little interaction, and Pop happened, and he just happened to be in the vicinity. Right place, wrong place, right time, depending on who you are. I will say though that Kamala, or I hope I'm saying her name correctly, guys. I will say that though she's saying a lot more untruths, case in point being the 2025, like just on stage, he was saying like, no, 2025, never heard of it. He's heard of it, but he hasn't looked at it, stuff like that. Or the abortion thing, how it's given the rights of the states to do what they want. And she's saying like, no, this kind of stuff. It's like if the person's refuting it right there, I mean, I guess we'll have to pull the tapes, right? Fact checkers, do your jobs. Comment section below. But yeah, the debate was interesting. A lot of funny one-liners. I will say it seemed like Kamala, she did way better in the debate just because it seemed like she had her stuff together. I want to say that Trump underestimated her, telling from a lot of the interviews and things that she's done in the past. He thought, she was just going to give these cliche things. I mean, don't get me wrong, she's doing that too, but she came with that fire. She was like, making all these facial expressions and stuff, and he was just like not really giving her any attention or whatever, except for some of those one-liners that were hilarious. But it seems like she got that one on this time. We'll have to see what happens in the future. It doesn't appear like he wants to do another debate. He's like, I already got it. Already in the bag. I don't need another one. Round 2. All right, so you guys heard about the pop in West Palm Beach, while Trump was golfing and stuff. So first came out, it seemed like people were sensationalizing that another attempt was made, but it appears people were having a altercation, altercation nearby. That's what happened when they said, that this stuff happened at the golf golf place. I was thinking that this was in Doral in Miami, which I've been to before. I haven't golfed there, just in the vicinity, right? But West Palm Beach. That's interesting because you go to West Palm Beach and it's like Mayberry, man. It's like if you have money and want to stay away from stuff like that, that's the place you go. But maybe not anymore. Things are happening quick. All right, so I was watching the debate and I was like, I don't know much about Kamala. I've heard a little bit about Trump, but apparently both are authors, right? So if you want to find out more about these wonderful people, Kamala has we the truths we hold. That's the title of one of her books. Not to be confused with the truths that we reveal. All right. And that's just what I added on to the back there. All right. And another book she has is Kamala's Way, an American. Not sure I can read my own handwriting there. But two of the books that she has written, and then Trump, of course, has The Art of the Deal, okay? And then The Best Real Estate Advice I've Ever Received. Two books that he's written. So, if you guys want to know more, you got those books too. And talking about knowing the author of writing these books, you can turn anything into anything you want. Well, I just want to point you guys towards a book that I like. Of course, I've shown you guys this before. This is my End of Time Bible showing the symbolic time running out with that timepiece there around the earth with the hands of what has been depicted throughout history of God's hands holding the ultimate timer, waiting for the time to run out for, Judgment Day, the time of the end, right? The end of the beginning of the ultimate party. Amen. So in Mark chapter 15, and the whole chapter pretty much goes into kind of the litigation of Jesus, okay? Jesus is here about to go make the ultimate sacrifice for our sins, but before that there's a lot of things that happen. There are priests, there's, some religious people that are the noisiest people, and then you have on the other side the silent Jesus. Not that he didn't have anything to say, didn't have the most things to say out of everyone, but his time was at hand. He was, ready to make this sacrifice. And what is so interesting is that he is deemed or made this king of the Jews in the eyes of Pilate because, he's like, oh, listen, my phone is about to cool down here. Anyways, so he's deeming, Jesus, this king of the Jews, but the Jews are having no part of it, right? But it just strikes me so profoundly that he was this quiet presence there. And then you had these naysayers and people on the other side that were just throwing all kinds of nasty, blasphemous things like, who hit you, and all this kind of stuff. And he's just silent, even though he could have said so much. So, when you have a moment in your life where people are hating on you or doing crazy stuff like that, maybe it's time to, you know, make a movement by silence. Sometimes silence is some of the strongest stuff that you can do. I've had some silent people around me, and yes, sir, that'll do it. That'll certainly do it. And it makes such a statement. Silence sometimes can be some of the loudest statements in a good way or in a bad way. But I really do think that in this way he was showing his strength. He didn't have to fill the air with words or babbling or anything like that. He's like, let my words or example tell you what it is. You already know what time it is, so let's get to it. Amen. All right, so at one time I was put onto this Glorify app by a YouTube peer, which is fastly becoming successful. She put me on to Glorify, but it kind of got like new age for me. So Glorify has like a C.S. Lewis quote at the beginning, then it has the devotional, and then at the end, this is the part where it's like, kind of thing. But at the end of this devotional thing, it kind of has like a meditation moment where you're just like kind of like floating through nature in this AI experience, like this artificial intelligence experience, where it makes a world like a beach scene or maybe a a mountainous scene, and you're just kind of like floating through there, and it has like the Bible text and a prayer and stuff, but it kind of prompts you to breathe. And I haven't really done too much new age stuff like that, but from what I remember, there was a lot of breathing activities, and it just reminded me of the same energy. So I finally got off of that and got back to the Sabbath school lesson. I originally got off the Sabbath school lesson because the Sabbath school lesson back in the day kind of got into some Eucharist type terms and things like that, or it was rumored to be in that sort of mind state. So I was like, you know what? I don't need this either. So I got off of that, got onto Glorify, and hit this new age stuff up, and I was like, nah, this is wild. And let me go back to the Sabbath school lessons, see if anything is better. You know, it's not chocked full of lessons, and it has spirit of prophecy in there, which yeah, got to stick with the Bible. But I guess if you're not deep in the Word, this stuff definitely is like the spark notes to it. Amen. So that's that. I just wanted to kind of show you what kind of stuck out to me in the Sabbath school lesson, with Jesus being so silent as his enemies, his ops, not his enemies, but the enemies of him and his father and what they were doing were speaking so loud. It's just so crazy. All right. So next thing, Tim Waltz. So apparently he did a wife reveal recently. Maybe she was out there the whole time, but you know how teachers are. They got them secret spouses or whatever. But no, she came out there, looks like an educator. You know, I do wish that Gwen Wall's name was like Sugar Dulce, something sweet like that. It'll just make for a funny combination of names. So I just recently saw a short clip in passing here. How she was on the stage at one of these rallies, and she had this almost windshield wiper esque hand motion that was kind of like turning a new page or saying goodbye to the old. But saying goodbye to the old isn't the old what we're dealing with right now? What do I know about politics? I wanna kind of stay away from politicking on this part on YouTube's, because it seems like the people that are doing that here are getting taken out, getting torn down. So I will say that I do have a Rumble, I have a Truth, sorry, and I have an X now. So if you search JPTV or JPTV 2024, you should be able to find my things on there. And if you haven't checked out my Big Joe video on YouTube, go ahead and check that out. And if you like that kind of information, go ahead and follow or subscribe on some of these other places. All right. So Matthew 12:25. I think that's what this verse says. So apparently I had another verse on here for some reason. 12:25. Let's see what that says. For when they shall rise from the dead, they neither marry nor are given in marriage, but are as the angels which are in heaven. Okay. Not sure why I put that verse there. I think what I meant to say was 15 verse 25. Let's go ahead and try that out. All right. Mark 15 verse 25. And so Pilate, willing to content the people, released Barabbas unto them and delivered Jesus when he had scourged him to be crucified. Okay. So though Pilate wasn't altogether responsible for the demise or the death of Jesus, he did help out a little bit. Did some whipping, scourged him to be crucified, and gave him into the hands of them. But in all defense of him, he didn't want to crucify Jesus. He was like, this is y'all people. I don't know what are you here for? Like, let me know. And that's how it is. Let's see. I have some notes here I'm going through. All right, I had Ohio. Okay. So just like my Bible here has a time and a clock on it, a lot of things are happening here towards the end times, which I believe are coming in soon. And some people are talking about, in the future, there being various, World War III or civil wars. I believe we're getting the pieces put together right now. Things are coming together for that to happen. Just like in Ohio, got these rumors in Illinois. Just imagine if there's a rumor someone was eating your pet, or you saw someone, doing something with your pet. I don't know what it could be, but that would that would be fighting situations for a lot of people. Not saying that a lot of these things are true, but just doing research online, it seems like there are things happening with animals. You know, there are things happening. So I definitely think we're getting to a place where them things can happen. There was a verse. Oh, so I said in Matthew 12 verse 25. Sorry guys, I was in Mark 15 verse 25. It's a great thing to read your own handwriting. So without further ado, if you have a Bible, go ahead or if you had a cell phone, go ahead to Matthew 12:25. This is how I wanted to close this out. Coming up to 26 minutes now, but it's okay. Almost done here. I know this is a little bit different from my AI videos. I heard something on Instagram that if you put these AI videos out, humans love the AI videos and the voices. Apparently, that is not the fact. All right. I got Matthew. All right. Matthew 12, verse 25. On the next page here. All right. So Matthew 12, verse 25 says, "And Jesus knew their thoughts and said to them, Every kingdom divided against itself is brought to desolation, and every city or house divided against itself shall not stand.